welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel and welcome to 2021. This is my first video of the new year. So most people use the beginning of the year to sit down and plan out their goals or just establish their goals. And since I'm always looking for practical uses for astrology, I figured I would use the first video of 2021 to explain how you can use astrology to keep you on task and develop a routine. As we've talked about before on this channel, tracking transits can be super helpful when it comes to planning certain things. I do understand that tracking transits for all of the planets all the time can be super overwhelming. So in this video, I wanted to talk about how if your goal is to develop a routine, you can really get started by only tracking one planet, or actually one luminary, and that one luminary is the moon. The moon rules our routines, our habits, and what keeps us regulated. It's also the easiest luminary to learn about tracking transits with because it's going to transit all of the houses in your chart every single month. Sometimes it's sign twice in a month, because it transits through every sign every month. So it's easy to look at where the moon is in your chart throughout the month, and you can easily, start to make note of certain changes or certain things that, of course, they're happening so close to getting about their aversion to routine. It's always, oh, well, I don't always feel like doing X, Y, and Z, or I am not always in the mood to do X, Y, and Z. When my agenda says so, or when my schedule that I've written out for myself says so. Well, the moon also rules our mood and our emotions. So whatever sign or whatever house the moon is transiting in your chart during the month, it is an area in your life where you're more likely to want to do things associated with it. You know what I mean? So for example, say the moon was transiting through your sixth house. The sixth house rules like cleaning and like doing work. And so you're probably more likely to want to deep clean your place when the moon is transiting your sixth house. Does that make sense? So first I'm going to go over exactly how to go about tracking the moon in your chart. And then we're going to talk about what are some good things to do when it's transiting each house so that you can start developing your schedule at the top of every month based on what you're actually going to feel like doing. Let's head to my laptop so I can show you how to track transits. So here I have my birth chart pulled up on astro.com, and I'm going to click this button that says with transits so that I can see in green around the perimeter of my chart where all of the planets are currently transiting. So we can see right now that the moon is currently transiting my 12th house. So I'm just kind of showing you this so that you know what it looks like, what the moon will look like going around your birth chart. So I go to free horoscopes and then I scroll down. Then under drawings and calculations, I go down to create an ephemeris. Now normally I open it up in a new tab because I don't want to close my birth chart. So I've opened up create an ephemeris in a new tab. I make sure that the start date is 2021. If you wanted to, you could plan all the way ahead. You can put whatever year you want in here. And then click here to show ephemeris. And also make note that the my name is already here so that I know the ephemeris is in my time zone, if that makes sense. So make sure that if you have other birth charts stored in your Astro data bank, just make sure that the horoscope is for your name. So let's go back to the ephemeris for the year 2021, and we're gonna plan some stuff out for January. So the only column, when you first pull this up, it might be overwhelming, but the only column you need to worry about is the column with the glyph for the moon, because that's the only thing that we're gonna be tracking right now. So say I want to schedule some time to meet with someone that I am working on a project with. So we're partners working on a project. So the house in your birth chart that rules partnerships, serious partnerships, and I would consider this a serious partnership because you guys are working on a project together, is your 7th house. So, say I'm the kind of person that doesn't really like working as a team, so I typically don't feel like it. Maybe I want to see when the moon is going to be transiting my 7th house in January so that I can schedule this meeting during a time where I'm going to be more relatable to my business partner, or I'll be a little bit more excited about doing it. So my 7th house, Aquarius is in my 7th house. So I'm going to look on the ephemeris for when the moon will be transiting Aquarius, because Aquarius is in my 7th. So side note, it's a really good idea to memorize the glyphs if you're going to do this, because as you can see, it's not like there are any names of the signs or the planets or anything here. So make sure that you have a good grasp on your glyphs. But anyway, so the moon will be in Aquarius in January on the 14th and the 15th. So I've highlighted the dates that the moon will be in Aquarius. So let's go over a little bit exactly how to read this ephemeris. This column right here is the day of the week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and so on, right? The numbers that you see in this column is the date. So for example, this would be Sunday, January 10th. This would be Monday, January 11th. This row would be Tuesday, January 12th, okay? Column we're going to worry about is the column with the glyphs of the signs, because that tells you what sign the planet, or in this case the moon, will be in. So I was trying to see when the moon was going to be in Aquarius, so I looked for the Aquarius glyph and I looked for how long it remains in that quote-unquote glyph until the glyph changes to Pisces. Does that make sense? So by looking at this, I know the moon will be in Aquarius on the 14th and the 15th, and then it goes into Pisces on Saturday, January 16th. So like I said, I wanted to schedule a meeting with the person that I'm partnering with on a project. So if I know that the moon will be in Aquarius on the 14th and the 15th, I'm gonna go to my calendar and mark my calendar for either the 14th or the 15th to either schedule the meeting or contact the person I'm working with to see if either of those days works for them. So now that we know how to track where the moon is transiting in our charts, let's talk about some good things to do or some good things to schedule when the moon is transiting through each of the houses. So when the moon is transiting your first house, that's a really good time to do things associated with self-care, because remember, the first house pertains to the self. So hair appointments, getting your massage, if you want to start getting monthly massages, that would be a good time to do that. Manicures, pedicures. I think it's a good way to kind of designate that time every month for self-care, because I know some people struggle with, well, how much is too much self-care, or I feel like I'm always doing self-care and then I kind of neglect my other responsibilities. So figure out when the moon will be transiting your first and designate that time or those couple of days to schedule the stuff that you need for self-care. At the same time, it's a good time to start new projects or just start anything new, because the first house is Aries, natural home, and Aries is all about starting new things, trying new things. So that would be a good time where you actually feel like embarking on something new. When the moon is transiting your second, that's a good time to sit down and create your budget for the month, or if it's transiting the second house at the later part of that month, maybe it's a good time to sit down and budget for the next month, because that is when you'll actually feel like dealing with money matters or just getting your financial life together. It's also a good time to, if you're thinking about like purchasing, like making a big purchase and you need to sit down and compare prices at different places, that's a good time where you'll actually feel like doing that too. So like sitting down and having like, you know, a bunch of browsers open so that you can compare the prices at different stores. That'll be a good time to get that done. When the moon is transiting your third house, that's a good time to get anything done pertaining to like communication. So if you have to have a difficult conversation with someone and like maybe you've been putting it off, maybe when the moon is transiting your third, that would be a good time to do that, because the moon also shows where we're the most relatable, or depending on where it's transiting, it makes us more relatable to others. The moon also pertains to our association with the public. So if it's transiting your third, maybe, you know, the conversation will be smoother. The other person might be more likely to see things your way. And like I said, since the third house rules communication, that's all things communication. So if you made the goal to like do more journaling in 2021, when the moon is transiting your third, that's a good time to journal. If you want to read more, because reading is a form of communication, you know, designating the time where the moon is transiting your third to like get some reading done, or schedule reading into your schedule, it's a good time to do that. By doing a lot of your charts, I've learned that a lot of you are actually in school. I love that. You're in college. So maybe when the moon is transiting your third, that's a good time to crank out a whole bunch of work you've been putting off. Because, you know, it rules like reading and writing, more specifically like school papers. You're more likely to want to get something like that done. Third house also rules siblings. So if maybe you've been putting off calling your sister or your brother and you know you need to call them, but you've been putting it off, or maybe you need to have a difficult conversation with them, that the moon's influence in that house will make that a little bit easier for you. So when the moon is transiting your fourth house, that's a good time to do anything related to the home or where you live. So decluttering your home or making your home look nicer, or like maybe you've been trying to find time or find the right time to redecorate your home or buy furniture for your home. It's a good time to go apartment hunting or house hunting if you have to do that. So when the moon is transiting your sixth house, that is a good time to get a lot of that tedious work done. It's a good time to get organized, because the sixth house rules the work we do, it rules service, and it rules our health. So I think that would be a good time to do deep cleaning, because like I said, you're more likely to want to put in hard work. Organizing your life. I know that we all get disorganized sometimes, and sometimes we just feel like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed, like everything is disorganized right now. When the moon is transiting your sixth, that's a good time to like sit down and figure out exactly what needs to get done and what needs to be like restructured in your life so you can feel more organized. When the moon is transiting your sixth, that's also a good time to schedule doctor's appointments, because like I said, sixth house rules our health, and when the moon is transiting a house, remember, you're more kind of emotionally attached to the matters of that house, and like you feel like doing whatever is going on in that house. Doctor's appointments, we all put them off. Like we all like, you know, or most of us, we don't feel like scheduling that physical or whatever. When the moon is transiting your sixth, you'll feel more positive about going to your doctor's appointment, and you might be more likely to ask more in-depth questions, or want to have more conversations about like any of your health concerns, anything that you wanted to ask your doctor. Moon transiting your sixth is also a good time to do community service. If one of your goals for the New Year's is to give back to the community more, or just do anything service related, the sixth house, the moon transiting the sixth would be a good time to do that, because remember, the sixth house rules service and how we can be of service to others. Okay, that's all I have for today. I hope that that was helpful in planning your routines for the new year. Remember, the moon will transit all of your houses every month. If you like this channel, or if you think you're going to like this channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you like this video, go ahead and press that like button, and I will see you next time. Bye.